From MZ Studios in Dallas, Texas, you're listening to the Tennis Revolution podcast.
Welcome to the revolution. And guess what? America is finally where we think America ought to be on the world stage. Men's tennis?
I was about to say.
No. Of course not. Talking about Women's World Cup. Why don't we just do this whole podcast on talk about each goal that we've scored in the World Cup in the American women?
Time.
We don't. It's been a lot. We're plus 16.
And I know we're not going to get into that in depth, but isn't that typical of the rest of the world to criticize America for being too happy? Like too much celebration.
We're the obnoxious Americans.
Which, I was having a discussion with someone about that. And I didn't watch the first game. I did watch this game, but I didn't see any excessive celebration. I actually saw an article of them consoling the losing team the first game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's certainly not something you're doing if you're rubbing, a win in someone's face.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with you celebrating your own, I don't think.
Even in a 13-0 game, individual goals are not that common.
He's only had 13. You're right, they're rare.
But I mean,
there's only 13 per 90 minutes.
But they have 22 players, so I mean,
it's a good point.
Every time you score is still a big deal.
And not everyone. I mean, there was one person that scored multiple, and then another person that scored. So yeah, no, I agree.
But yeah, I mean,
listen. Here's the fact of the matter: you only get a limited amount of subs in soccer,
right?
Football, and so.
Right, like I know, I have no clue. But
in all reality, we couldn't put our bottom 11 in because we only get 3 subs or whatever it is. I don't know. Maybe World Cup's different. I'm talking like I know.
Well, and
I watch a bit.
To me, you expect people not to celebrate in the World Cup. It's not a practice game. Like if we're playing a practice match in front of 50 people, I understand not celebrating and doing organized dancing and all that. But this is a World Cup.
And by the way, it's not like college football used to be, where the old ball coach used to hang half 100 on a team.
Yeah,
and he did that for fun, because in group play, goal differential is the first deciding tiebreak.
I said that too. In the first game, any team, if they could score 13, would. I promise you, because you don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 games.
Well. Sort of. I mean, I think we feel pretty good that.
Well, you never know anything in sport. I mean, I mean, I know what you're saying, but
do they get 5 goals for making one from midfield? Is that like?
Oh, you like your old Rock and Jock?
MTV Rock and Jock.
But no, I mean, had they lost the game, had they been 1-1, then nobody would have said, "Oh man, they can't believe they scored those 13 goals," because they might have needed those. I mean, probably not 13. But.
And we only scored 3 against Chile.
Right.
So, what are you going to do? Listen.
And I hope that wasn't because they toned it down after the first one and the criticism they got.
No, I don't think so. I mean, what do I know? I don't know anything. That's what. No, they were still bringing heat. I watched most of that game, actually. I didn't see a single goal, but I watched most of the game.
Well, and this is a topic we've never gotten into, but what is your opinion on, excessively beating someone? Because we've had a lot of stories like that the last couple of years.
Well, for us, we don't have to worry about that.
No, you don't.
You have to get to 6, and if your opponent can't get any games, it's got nothing to do with me. I'm sorry. I'm beating you.
And even a 6-0, 6-0, you could have lost, 50 points in the match.
Right.
You don't know how close the games are.
The old, every game went to deuce.
Right.
The old,
I hear from every losing player that I coach after every match. But there was I remember a couple years ago around our area, some high school team won 100-0, and it was a big, in football, I think, and it was a big.
No, it was
was it basketball or football? I couldn't remember.
I thought there was a girls' basketball game.
Okay, maybe I couldn't remember if it was basketball or football, and I remember it was a big, and the coach was like, none of my first string players played. Like, what do you want me to do?
Well, what's more disrespectful? To just pass the ball around until the shot clock gets down to 0 and then give it to the other team?
Like, you're so bad, we're just going to give you the ball every 24 seconds.
Honestly, I mean, what I always tell players is that if you want to show the player across the net the most possible respect you can, bring it on every single point as hard as you can.
And it's funny you say that because I had an instance one time where I watched this guy play, and he was an amazing player, way better than me. And we ended up, I knew you were going to say that. And we ended up playing each other 2 hours later in a different league. And so I'm walking on the court, and I'm like, well, this is going to be quick. And the first game, he's serving like half of what I saw him serving earlier, and we broke him the first game. And I tell him on the changer, I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, what do you mean? I said, that's not how you actually play. I just watched you 2 hours ago. You're killing one of my players at the same level as me. And, you know, he gave some, whatever, cockamamie excuse. And, of course, ended up beating us. Like, we won like one more game the rest of the match. But I totally, like you, I felt disrespected. I would much rather, if you can beat me quick, I'd rather lose quick.
Yeah.
Like, don't make me think I can win, or like if someone's up on me 6-0, 5-0 and they start pushing serves over, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, because they're patronizing you.
Right.
And that's not fun. It's not fun to lose also while somebody's really not trying their best.
It's not like I'm going to come off and say, oh, yeah, I got a game on him, especially if it was because of that. If I earn a game off him, I might come off bragging about it, but not if he gives it to me.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that imagine if they had let, that team score 2 goals at the end and ends up being 13-2. Like, is anybody going to say, oh, that was nice of them? That was good sportsmanship for them to do that? That wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
If the goalie just lays down, they score. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty ridiculous. At the highest level, it's a ridiculous claim.
Right.
If you're playing way out of your league, then that's different, which happens a lot in tennis.
Yeah, but if you were playing some exhibition against, Sampras or somebody, then fine. But
I mean, if like the U.S. World Cup team decided to schedule an exhibition against, a local junior college and they're celebrating and they're up, 22-0, I think that would be ridiculous because you're not the same caliber. If you're in the World Cup, you're the same caliber. Whether USA is way better or not, that is the highest level you can be.
Yeah.
So because of that, I don't have a problem with it. And again, if they were running around pointing and laughing at the other team and stuff like that, then that's different.
Which you do. I've seen you do that when especially when you're teaching like girls tens and stuff. You're pushing them down and hitting balls at them and laughing.
Well, I know you're the college tennis guy, but a student of mine just went off and played his first year of college tennis, and I got to hear from him this week, and he actually had a lot of bad experiences, and it kind of depressed me. And he said one of the guys his team played, he got done and he went up to shake hands and he said, I'm sorry that you're just not very good at tennis. His opponent said to him, and I said, I'm sorry you had to deal with that. I mean, that's awful. Because I really can't think of something worse somebody could say to you.
I need to find out off air what school and what I need to find that out. That's fantastic.
It was, hearing the story made me sad for him because I'm like, has tennis changed that much in 15 years? Because I never.
Well, you should have apologized saying, well, I coached you and I couldn't quite.
I had one bad experience in 2 years of playing. So he said that he had 2 good experiences in 1 year of playing.
Wow.
So it kind of depressed me.
No, but the coaches and the programs that put up with that nonsense. And so it's not, I don't think he's just had a bad run. And again, I got school, the conference, I don't know who you're talking about, so I can't really address it, but we will once we're off air.
That's right.
Because I definitely want to know.
Make some phone calls.
Oh, for sure. So anyway, Women's World Cup. So, World Cup talk. No, I'm kidding. I don't know anything about soccer. But
yeah, we've pretty much exhausted our knowledge of that so far.
13 goals.
And so I assume because they're 2-0, they've already advanced.
Locked it up.
Regardless of what happens.
And so is Sweden.
So
that's who we...
Okay, because they're both 2-0.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Sweden's like +4 or +6 or something. We're +16. There is some advantage to finishing first in the group, I would assume. Yeah, you'll
play a 2 instead of a 1.
Or a 3, because there's also wild cards or something. Man, I don't know. I don't know. And listen, I don't know about men's World Cup either, okay? So let's not.
Yeah, that's one thing I cannot be blamed for being sexist on, because I don't know anything about soccer, men's or women's.
Right. All right, who cares about that?
We had another sport going on grass this week.
Cricket. Do they play on grass? I don't know what they play on.
Dirt and grass, I guess.
No, of course. Grass court tennis has begun. And how you feeling about it, just generally?
It's just it's always great to see players at the net. That's like immediately the change you notice right away.
Well, and I that's exactly where we didn't, of course, prep ever, as usual. But you played right into my evil plan.
Yes, always.
That's exactly what I was going to say, and more so, it seems, this year than recent years.
Well, yeah, because we've been seeing players going to the net a lot more than normal, even on hard and clay courts.
Right.
So I think now they're like, if they've already been doing it, they're definitely. I mean, Djokovic is probably going to serve and volley every point at Wimbledon because that works so well in Roland Garros.
Well, first of all, just watching two players play off the ground on the grass looked difficult at best for both of them, which I was happy at least. Everybody always talks about how the grass has been slowed down, et cetera, but it looked more difficult, shorter swings, short hopping the ball, and not as much, pace on it.
And I always find it interesting who plays the first week of these, these seasons, because to me it's almost like a negative. It means those are the people that know they need more practice time on that surface, because like Federer's not playing the first week ever because he knows he's going to transition pretty quick. But some of these guys, you can tell they want to be out there as much as possible leading into Wimbledon, because otherwise they can't be prepared. Yeah,
and first of all, once again, as usual, we'll start the grass season by saying the grass season's way too short. And it bothers me. But at the same time, who cares about lead-up tournaments? Because if one of the big three plays in it, there's only one of them.
Right.
And if they don't play in it, the winner means nothing.
I really think they strategically don't play in the same ones. I think that one of them finds out what the other one's playing, and they play the opposite. Now, it may not be for the reasons I'm insinuating, but it just seems like that's always the case, whether they want to be the star of the show or they don't want to play each other.
We call that collusion. You don't think they know about it? They're just dodging each other? Although I think they kind of know.
No, I think they know. That's what I mean.
Which ones each other. Even years past. They all play certain ones.
It's just funny that you almost never see two of the big three playing each other in the lead-up. Now, in clay you do, because there's so many clay lead-ups. Nadal and Djokovic, you're going to play in one of them because there's 10 different ones.
Right.
But in grass, I can't ever remember a year where Federer, Nadal, Djokovic really played in a lead-up grass tournament, because there's so many different ones condensed into 3 weeks that they're never in the same ones.
So, on the women's side, how much did you watch? Did you watch a lot?
No, I'd like to say yes. This was a big... this makes tennis sound horrible, but this was a big sports week. We had NHL Game 7, NBA Game 6.
Yes.
The World Cup started. U.S. Open golf. There's a lot of other things.
And some might say, but wait, those other games don't happen at the same time as the tennis matches. And to that you reply, I haven't watched a live sporting event since 1978.
Yeah, I just watched Game 6 of the NBA. Congrats, Raptors, this morning. No. But, yeah, and I do have a job. I'm actually back to work now,
chance.
So that makes it a little harder.
No chance. Well, I will tell you this. First of all, kudos to the Tennis Channel and Tennis Channel Plus generally. Shame on you. I couldn't sign into the app on my phone.
Really?
Sometimes I don't know what does it, but I'm signed in automatically.
Yeah.
And so I bring up a court, and then it tells me, hey, you can sign in or join, and I hit the sign in button, and it just goes to, hey, subscribe. And I'm like, dude, I am subscribed to 2020. And so there were issues with it.
They must be hearing the show. They're blocking you somehow.
I hope so. You son of a gun. So that caused, because I don't like the boot back and forth of matches for no particular reason. The thing,
different tournaments, you mean?
Right. Yeah. The thing you and I always talk about is, if even different tournaments, same tournament, doesn't matter. The only reason to switch from one match to another is if the current match is a foregone conclusion, or the tennis is awful,
right,
and there's a more thrilling match going on, i.e. men. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And by the way, I thought of a comparison for that recently. I mean, what's the biggest sport in the world, our world?
Croquet.
NFL, if the Giants are up 35-7, they never stay on that game, ever, unless it's your local team, then they do.
Oh, right.
But they always are going to switch over to a more competitive game, even if the two teams are less, are not as good or whatever, less famous, whatever you want. They have less of a following.
What
and tennis,
spit it out,
tennis,
sir.
they do that. They stay to the end no matter what. And I just don't get that. I can't understand that.
Yeah.
And they do it consistently.
Yeah. I don't know. And
maybe it's different because you're playing to, like you said, playing to a conclusion. So they feel like they have to play till that's over.
And here's one positive aspect of that issue is the Tennis Channel now has the rights to a lot more tournaments. And tournaments obviously occur at the same time.
Right.
Which is wonderful. But from our point of view, they shouldn't. But nobody wants to listen to our schedule change,
right?
A calendar change. But anyway, so basically, we'll just kind of just go over the overall.
Well, that's what you're saying is what I mean. And for that reason, we shouldn't have to sit through a bad match because they have 4 different options every Sunday of finals.
Yeah.
So especially if they're going at that time, we should be able to watch the best one.
Yeah, for sure. But listen, there's no question that some of this might be outside the realm of things I know. I get it. I don't even know how camera works to record these things, much less the whole process to get it from that court to my TV. So I got it. Whatever. So I'm an idiot. I get that, but if you're going to charge me, well, first of all, the thing not working, the app not working, that's a separate issue. That's not. But if you're going to have, the ability to go and the wherewithal to go between courts, and some of it had to do with rain, and I get it because, the things are stopped and et cetera. So obviously they're going to do that. But yeah, it just, I don't know. I would rather stick with a competitive match almost regardless, particularly in these draws. I mean, you're talking about players that are still either are, somebody who's came out of nowhere like Dustin Brown every grass season.
Yeah. Yes, I had people asking me who he was this week. I'm like, have you never seen him?
He's new.
Around for 3 weeks every year.
Exactly.
And he's 2-0 against Nadal, his claim to fame. He's never lost to Nadal. But both were on grass, of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, guess what he does? I mean, he volleys. He serves and volleys, or he comes in as often as he can, and it just works.
It is pretty interesting how he's able to get in those tournaments without able to get in any other tournaments, it seems like. Like, it's all based on the same rankings, so how is he able to play all the grass ones and not any others?
Once again, this should show you precisely, Dustin Brown should precisely show you why each major should have a series leading up to it, i.e. the U.S. Open series, although I would argue the series leading up to the U.S. Open should be a little more organized and purposeful, but that's neither here nor there right now.
Yeah.
But every major should have a series leading into it, and that series should dictate maybe a hybrid system, as we've talked about, in terms of the seeding.
Just because of injury or somebody missing.
Or if Federer plays 3 of these tournaments and does awful in 2 of them, we don't think he's going to do awful at Wimbledon.
Right.
So you don't want to, leave him unseeded. So like I said, there's got to be some kind of hybrid system. Maybe you lock in the top 8 and then you block seed 9 through 16. You
could also use the last year of that tournament as a part of it too. So that's going to, be more advantageous to your better players because they are going to do well in slams. So count Wimbledon 2018 and the 3 lead-ups, and that's it.
Well, I have no problem with rankings generally. I mean, you're not going to be number 1 in the world and be awful at a surface.
But yeah, Dustin Brown is probably in the top 32 in terms of grass court players.
Clearly.
Maybe top 16.
Clearly. Yeah. I mean,
but he always is going to play some seed in the first or second round because he's always going to be unseeded.
Right. And I think it's a dread bias.
Well, you remember that woman.
How difficult is that to play with all that hair under that thing?
I don't know how. But, they had that woman a long time ago. I say a long time ago, like 5 years. But Perankova, who made like a Wimbledon semi. She made the second week of Wimbledon like 3 or 4 times and had never done anything in like any other tournament. And she would go in every year to Wimbledon and beat some seeded player and advance really far.
Yeah.
Which is a lot more unusual in the women's tour. But yeah, I think that there should be some variation in the seeding for sure.
Yeah.
Even, like you said, 50-50 or whatever. But what do we know?
Yeah, and again, that would also entail shifting the season as we've talked about before. And again, I don't know how much room these tournaments have to move in terms of where they're located and what's going on in those areas where they're located.
You would think these two, the French and Wimbledon, would have the most flexibility, but because the French could go 1 week earlier, Wimbledon goes 1 week later.
And we're almost problem solved, almost. Right. And we need to get rid of Miami and Indian Wells, move those to the U.S. Open Series.
Yeah, I mean, you still have 2 full months almost between Wimbledon and the U.S. Open.
So, all right, so on the men's side, so in Stuttgart, we had Berrettini, clearly a grass court player.
I was going to say.
Beats Felix.
Two people not known for grass expertise.
And, well, I mean, Felix is 12. He's not known for any expertise yet.
But I'm glad he's back because I was really going to be upset if he didn't play Wimbledon.
Well, I'm glad he's back, but I'm bummed that, or maybe I'm not bummed that he didn't get to play a semifinal match because Raonic pulled out because he's 117 years old and 47 feet tall.
His body's 147. He's like, isn't he his 20s still?
I don't know. He's like, he might be 19.
He cannot play 2 tournaments without an injury.
He can't. So maybe he did that to sort of pace himself for Wimbledon because I'd like to see him in as much as he could be 100%. Or as close to 100%.
Yeah, well, he's playing again, or he was listed on the seeds for the tournament this coming week.
Well, so he pulls out, and Felix, because I was waiting for that match to come up, and it was, you had, a picture in a picture there, with 2 different tournaments going on. Actually, I think that was when they had 3 boxes, which, that's even better.
Yeah, I hate that. As much as we talk about moving around, I hate that too, because again, I've got a 50-inch TV with pretty decent vision, and I can't see the ball on both courts.
Right.
So I know that other people can't.
So anywho, he moves walkover in the semis, which is too bad. And you want to talk about somebody that can play a little bit all court? That's big old Raonic. I mean, like I said, he 2 steps and he's to the net. And
I think that's the second final Felix has lost. So I think he's still looking for his first title. Yeah, that was tough because I actually didn't watch that final, actually, unfortunately, and I kind of wanted to see if he got a little tight like he did. I can't remember what match we were matching against Isner. Yeah, he was terrible.
Yes, that was scary, and that's all right.
He's been a lot better since then when I've seen him.
Yeah, and when you get to a new place, you don't know what to expect, and so you can react that way. I get it. You get some experience, and your courage builds, and then you can maybe compete better. So I was hoping that he didn't lose because of nerves. Well, and he's skyrocketed ranking because I bet this time last year he wasn't even in the top 150, and now he's going to be seated at Wimbledon. And he's still a pipsqueak. Wait until he fills out. Wait until his body catches up, and his muscle, his frame gets a little bit thicker. I don't really see him being a factor at Wimbledon just because of doesn't have that much of a serve. He does have an all-court game, but his serve, I think, is going to hurt him because you're going to play a big serve eventually if you're in Wimbledon. And one thing that's really underrated is guys that, regardless of the quote-unquote type of game they have, is if they're not comfortable moving on clay or moving on grass, that's an underestimated part of this whole process. Yeah. Because if you're unsure about your footing, that's where everything starts. Well, that's when you hear matches, they almost always go out of their way to say early in the match, like, oh, he grew up playing on this surface because – that makes a big difference. You can't substitute, 10 years of playing on a surface, 15 years for someone who's, barely played on it. Yeah. It's just not going to be comparable, no matter what the strokes look like. Would you grow up playing on rocks? That was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. Sand. It's on my slice. Oh, goodness me. Okay, you brought this up. Oh, no. What is the weirdest surface you've ever played on? Indoor carpet I played on. Oh, have you? Yeah. But that's like a normal surface. You haven't played on anything weird? Yeah, one of the colleges I coached at, we had up in the Northeast, we had an indoor facility that was shared by multiple sports, but they had lines down for 4 tennis courts. Okay. But was it like a hard court? No. Like basketball hard court, I mean? It was inside a track. So it was an indoor, barn-looking structure building. It was a hard building, though. It was stone, and it was Division I Northeast type school. You think of, kind of those colleges. Anyway, private college kind of look. So it had a track inside going around, and then 4 courts inside, and it had, the inside of the building up to the roof, it was, high. It was hard to hit a ball all the way up there. Yeah. And so the curtain hung down and went all the way around that oval. So people could run on the track outside the curtain. Okay. And then inside the curtain were the 4 courts. And, you had to, put in net posts and drag the net. Yeah, it was a whole situation. But it was this. See, you youngsters out there today, your perception of AstroTurf or artificial turf is like, oh, that's the stuff that looks and feels exactly like grass, except it's got those little beads in it.
Right.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about some old school homemade, and it was like if you were to take thin fishing line and then fold it over a million times to make it look like grass, real short. It was so weird. And every time you high five, you couldn't high five your doubles partner because you would shock. Both of you would fly backwards like a lightning bolt struck both of you. And so you
see people going up to shake hands and rubbing their feet on the carpet after the match is over.
So when you on a changeover, you would go by the net post, big metal net post, and you would touch your racket to it, and you couldn't even touch it to it before a blue spark between the racket and the.
I wish there was video of that.
Yeah, so that school still has that facility, so maybe I'll drive up there one day. But yeah, that was in the ball. Sort of when you hit it, if you were just kind of like a little short court type rally, like a ball going that speed, right? It would hit and just sort of check up. It would kind of almost go more straight up. It didn't go because it had forward momentum, but it was such a weird surface.
Yeah, see, my hometown is like 10,000 people, so there's 3 courts. And so one day we decided to go play, and we get there, and I'm like, what is this? It was like a miniature golf course. It was like that surface.
So concrete with that little thin carpet, not even office carpet, but back patio carpet.
And it wasn't like the carpet wasn't attached. So if you stepped, it would push up a little bit.
Bunch up, nice.
So playing on that's the worst I've ever done. And there was there was sand on it like a shuffleboard. I don't know if that was by design, or I'm not sure how that helped in any way, but so you could slide whether you wanted to or not.
Do you know how many people just don't care about tennis? They just here we want to do this, but they can play tennis on it too. Why not?
Here's the we're in one of the biggest cities in America, and half our nets are made out of chain link, so it tells you how much people care about it.
Yikes.
But anyway,
what in the world were we talking? All right, thank you. World Cup. Good night. What were we talking about?
Somehow we got on. I guess just players' games.
Oh, you were talking about people not being comfortable. Yeah, so that's part of it. And you don't know how many people. Up in Canada, it's a little chilly. Might not be a lot of grass coming up. Grass courts playing up there. And there's not a lot of grass courts in the U.S. at all. So
no, and that is the one thing we've said that differentiates tennis from other sports is that we play on 3 different surfaces during the year, which is almost. I don't know if you can say it's a different sport, but it's quite a big difference from one to the other.
Well, here's my deal. Either everything needs to go to all hard court, universal color, so TV and everything is better with that blue and the green.
Right.
Or make the grass faster in the like old school.
Right.
And make the clay slower like old school. I want some dude who we see come up from, the middle of nowhere, South America.
The jungle where he's got one clay court he's practicing on.
To dominate the clay court season, every year because the court's so heavy.
And see, the theory behind that is that that's what they don't want. They want continuity all year long, and that's why they make the surfaces like that.
Well, they've ruined tennis, haven't they?
Yeah, I don't get that because to me, that's the cool thing is, how many times have we been excited to see some random guy make the semis, the finals.
Either don't have it,
right,
or actually have it. If you're telling me you're slowing down the grass, then it's not. You're making it less grass.
Yeah. If you want it slower, then just play on hard court. What's the difference?
Exactly.
Yeah, I've never understood that because, and I even think these club pros that play on their hometown golf courses and can play in the pro tournaments because they played on a course their whole life and they know where to hit it, certain holes and that kind of thing. I mean, I have no problem with that. I think it would be cool to see someone who lives at is an All England Club member and is beating a top 20, top 10 player in the world just because he's so familiar with the conditions.
Right.
Like, I don't have a problem with that. I think that would be a great challenge for those top pros.
Built his entire game around grass. Yeah.
So I don't understand why that's a problem. I mean, I guess you can't build a publicity campaign around those players because they're only around, a couple weeks a year. But, who cares?
Yeah. Well, all right. So let's so on the men's side, we had the Haagen-Dazs, as I like to call it, or Serta-Gata-Gata-Bosch. Can you pronounce that at all?
No.
I've heard it pronounced multiple times properly, and yeah.
That's one of those tournaments. It seems like that's been the name of that tournament for 20-plus years.
Yeah.
All these other ones changed. That one's never changed.
My favorite thing about that tournament, my man Richard Gasquet made it to the semis. What a competitor. Love him.
He needs to be done.
No way. No way. Come on now.
Grass is probably his best surface, actually.
Who knows?
He didn't do well in clay this year.
I like him on hard court. So we had Mannarino, Adrian Mannarino, who should be from Italy, according to his name, but he's not. He's from France. Beat the Australian Jordan Thompson, and who cares?
And every time I hear Jordan Thompson, I think he's like a 6'6" big server, and then you see him and he's like 5'10", but for some reason he does way better on grass than anywhere else. I don't know why.
He's from Australia.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's in the water.
I know, and there's a couple Australian guys that have been like big servers and tall, so I just associate him with them. But then you see him play, and he doesn't really have a huge serve or huge game. He kind of plays like Millman.
Well, this is a thing that we talk about with these smaller tournaments that, if the 1 seed and the 2 seed aren't super impressive, which these should be. We had Coric, who was a wild card 2 seed, and then Tsitsipas was the 1. And Tsitsipas loses his first match. Good night.
Yeah, that was depressing.
Yeah, and I mean, Coric lost to Mannarino, so I mean that was something.
And I think it was a weird deal. Didn't they have to play 2 matches in one day, which has happened a lot?
Or they finished it. Yeah, they finished a match. Well, I don't think it was a lot.
Okay, that's happened a few times this year.
Yeah, it rains apparently where there's grass. I don't know,
but yeah, it's hard to. I mean, the tournament organizers got pretty depressed when Tsitsipas went out. 'Cause that's pretty much the only reason. I mean, not only reason, but that's probably the biggest draw of that tournament.
Oh, for sure. On the men.
Yeah.
On the men. Because in honor of her compatriots of the Women's World Cup, on the women's side of the Sir Haagen-Dazs, Alison Risk comes through after, wait for it.
She won that match?
Well, yeah, that's why you said that, because you watched the first set and bounced.
No, I saw she had saved 3 match points, but she was down 6-5 in the second.
Right, so she lost.
I assumed it was over.
The first set, 6-0.
Yeah.
And then came back, won in a breaker in the second, and then won 7-5 in the third.
Oh, my gosh. That's amazing.
Against the 4th player in the world.
Yeah, and I mean,
Kiki Bertens.
Before the French, she was one of the favorites for the French, and then she flamed out early, and now she's got this. That's going to be, it's a tough 3 weeks for her.
Yeah.
That's amazing, though, because she had just saved 3 match points, and I don't remember why I stopped watching. I think because I assumed it was over.
Yeah, and why wouldn't you?
Right, and that's crazy. And again, and that was a replay, so I should have known that's why they're still showing it, because it was a replay when I was watching it.
Right.
So that I should have known something notable was going to happen.
So, anywho, that's the Haagen-Dazs Sir Haagen-Dazs. Let me look at it and see.
I've heard it pronounced like you said. I don't know why I can't remember, but I know it doesn't sound anything like it looks.
Yeah, it sounds easier than it looks.
Yeah.
And who cares?
It's just like Hertogenbosch or something, but
that's exactly what it is.
There you go.
You're brilliant.
I'm an expert in dialects.
Stan, you don't even know what language that is.
I really don't.
Swazi. It's they're from the Netherlands.
There you go. So even more of a loss for Burtons.
So Danish.
That's depressing.
I used to have a player that I used to drive insane because I would say every other country.
Yeah.
So wait, what? The Netherlands?
Finland.
Oh yeah, that's Finland? Is that? Yeah. I think he caught on after a while.
Yeah.
I'm just an idiot. So then we had Stuttgart, which we talked about with Berrettini beating FAA. And then Robin Hood at Nottingham. Is that a real thing? If we go to Nottingham, is there going to be a plaque? Is Robin Hood real, or is that just...
That's got to be real.
It's got to be something.
Yeah.
So anywho, so they played a little bit of a double duty as well, I believe, in that match. I think they had to finish a semifinal a little bit.
Oh, so that one had the same issue.
Yeah. But the upside is the winner of the semifinal on the morning ended up winning also in a pretty doggone dicey match. It was, again, Caroline Garcia, who should be from wherever, but she's French, beat Donna Vekic from Serbia.
Which irritates me because I've got
Croatia. She's from somewhere.
I've got Garcia on my fantasy team, and she can't win a damn Grand Slam match, but then she can win a tournament that means nothing.
So that only counts Grand Slam matches?
That's all we do is Grand Slams.
I haven't said a bad word on this podcast, and I don't know how long.
I've taken your role.
And you are just dropping D words.
But we only factor in Grand Slams, and there's players that could be top 20 in the world, and in a whole year might win 3 or 4 Grand Slam matches. Which is crazy.
Maybe it's just a dumb thing to play. How about that? Maybe that's
it's definitely that.
Maybe that's your first problem.
I won't disagree with that.
So anyway, so she's from Croatia.
There you go.
Not Serbia. It's all the same to me. It's other places. So that was the Nature Valley in Nottingham. So I think everybody got free granola bars. Now, again, those were 250s on the men and whatever that version is on the women.
Premier level or whatever they call it.
Something. They're still nothing. 250,000 was still the prize money. And, whatever. There was a couple of good matches, but it always, on the men's side in particular, it always ends up, the question needs to be answered. Does anybody care? And is it going to affect Wimbledon at all?
Right.
No, is the answer. No.
No, because any of the guys that you think are going to build something off of this lose early next week.
Right.
And then, or the guys that win really close to Wimbledon are so tired they lose the first round of Wimbledon. Like it, I seriously, one day when I actually do research for the show, I'm going to look this up.
I can't wait until we start doing research. It's going to be incredible.
Has anybody ever, in the men's especially, because the women I'm sure it's happened, but in the men's, somebody won the warm-up tournament the week before a slam and won that slam? I bet it's never happened in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Because most of the guys don't even play now. But I remember we talked about Bautista Agut and Del Potro had some marathon amazing final the day before the slam started, and they both lost first round of the slam. It was like, oh, way to build your confidence for the slam, and they both, it was like 7-5 in the third, and they both lost first round.
All right, well let's talk about tournaments that matter a little bit more maybe than last week's meaning nothing when we come back.
It's time to join the revolution. Go to our website, tennisrevolutionpodcast.com, to get the latest episodes, email us your questions and comments, or give us show ideas.
All right, back to the grass. So now we're bumping up. We got some 500s coming in. So we got Holla.
So your second favorite name behind
I'm pretty
Boodles?
Sure I say that every single time we talk about that tournament. I can't help it. It's
and I think you do, because every time I read it now, that now pops in my head. I don't think like
I've ruined you.
Holla. I think it literally sounds exactly the same.
Sure.
It's just the intonation.
I say it.
Yeah.
I'm not. So again, the 1 seed is Roger Federer, and the 2 seed you might not have heard of him. Alexander. I think it's pronounced Zverev. I think he's got a brother that's pretty good.
His brother's better than him this time of year.
Yes, should be. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we got a little Monfils mixed in. We got a little Hatchinoff mixed in.
I wasn't excited by that field.
Here's the player I'm excited most about in this entire field. Can you guess who it is? It's not Benoit Paire for once. Not on the grass.
Or is it a seeded player or unseeded? No. Oh, then I don't know. Because I don't know who else is in it besides I only saw the seeds.
Oh, Cole Schreiber. That's who.
He's always good on grass.
That's who's going to win it. He's going to beat the American Stevie Johnson in the first round, and then he's going to beat Alexander Zverev as he just looks on in disbelief. And then he's going to play either Goffin or the Australian Ebden, or the seed in that little section, the 8 seed, is Guido Pella. And that's going to work out nicely for him. That makes sense.
The only problem is that he's 0-47 against Federer. So,
who?
Cole Schreiber.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying he's going to win the whole tournament.
Oh, I thought you were saying he was.
Oh, did I say that? Oh, no. He's the one I'm most excited about because he's going to actually play up to his level.
Hey, you didn't tell me the first round for Federer. It's
your buddy, Millman.
Yeah, who beat him at the U.S. Open.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him.
Probably going to be a little different on grass.
No. He's Australian.
I know, but Federer's going to be a lot more motivated and a lot fresher.
Oh, the king of grass. So Federer will face the winner of Paire Tsonga. Why?
Zverev could lose to Hassa first round. He may not even make it to Cole Schreiber.
I don't know. He's so up and down. And he doesn't play grass court tennis.
No.
So, but then again, have you seen Zverev volley? It's incredible.
We could have a Gasquet Federer third round.
I hope so.
God, this draw, there's not much to get excited about.
Well, if it was 2008, there would be. Because you got Tsonga, Gasquet. How sweet is that? I mean, that's good. You got Federer, again, 2008. Yeah. Monfils.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
Bautista Agut might have still been around in 2008.
Possibly, but certainly Cole Schreiber was,
Right. Struff, he was around in 2008.
Who knows?
He was probably a young up-and-comer.
Who knows? Andreas Seppi.
There's one of those guys that you said you only see for like 3 weeks, Ebden. You see him like on grass, and he'll beat a couple people.
I hope he does.
And, I like his game, but it's just, again, it's only on this surface typically.
So, it really has become, I was listening to a podcast with Billie Jean King, believe it or not. See, women's tennis, I'm all for it. It was the Racket Magazine podcast. Now, are you familiar with Racket Magazine?
I am not.
Yeah, you're the worst. Do you even, it doesn't matter. It's a magazine about tennis. And I guess they have a podcast. I think the name of it's Racket Magazine Podcast. I don't really know. I got to it from Twitter, so whatever. So anyway, so they had Billie Jean King on, and it was Renee Stubbs and the editor. Is that who runs the magazine?
Yes, usually.
Is it?
Yeah, because although they say Chris Everett's the editor of Tennis Magazine, I'm like, she's not running that magazine.
Well, whatever. The one that founded it and is running it, and I forget her name. She was the two co-hosts were her and Renee Stubbs, I guess, and they were talking to BJK.
I like Renee Stubbs.
Nobody asked you. And so, no, I'm kidding. I do, of course. And so they were talking, and that's it. I forgot what I was. What was I talking about? What did I even?
The Queens or not Queens?
Oh, I know what it was. She said when back when they were playing, they couldn't just quote unquote care about the majors like they do now. I mean, Federer would play 4 tournaments a year.
No, I've complained about that. It's a big problem for tennis. I think
it's a huge problem, and it's so like the gap between how much they care about the majors versus how much they care about everything else is absurd.
Yeah.
And it's extremely detrimental to tennis generally. And the reason it's detrimental, one reason, is that makes us care less about all these small tournaments.
Yeah.
And if we care less, guess what happens? It becomes more difficult to financially run those tournaments, to fill the seats.
You can't run a tour with 4 events.
Right.
Well, I will say, though, I think that only applies to 4 people, luckily for us, which is Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and Serena. I think that once they're gone, because I think you can tell, Thiem, Zverev, those people still care about the other tournaments because they can't win the bigger ones.
That's true, too.
But
it's all going to flip. As soon as the big 4 are gone, then all of a sudden that's all Zverev's going to care about.
Well, then he wouldn't be ranked if he only played those 4.
He does it now.
But I think that because of their legacy is all about the slams, I think that hopefully once they're gone, there will be some more importance placed on these other ones. But no, I think that, it could be what kills these smaller tournaments because they put so much attention on those people when they do play the big tournaments that nobody knows the people that are playing the small tournaments.
Right. Yeah.
And, and even the one we had here, it never got anywhere near the attention it got until last year when Nishikori was here. And they shouldn't over promote it just because it's one player. It's got to be the event that's got to carry it, not the names.
Now, and again, a challenger, I wouldn't expect.
Well, I don't blame them for promoting him. They got to make money,
right? But in terms of you don't know who to promote in a tournament because it's. That level is so transient.
Right.
Guys are coming in and out of that level to such a degree that it's difficult. Jack Sock, he'll be in it for a while. However,
but they screwed themselves that year because then the next year they had nobody anywhere near the name recognition.
Right.
And they had to pay Kyrgios and Isner to come in and make fools of themselves. And so now they've screwed themselves where they've made it where people only care if there's a big name, and people need to care no matter what.
Right.
It needs to just be, it's a pro tennis tournament, the best, highest level of tennis in Dallas. That's why you should come, not because one player you've heard of is going to be there.
Right.
And I think that's how a lot of these tournaments have turned into. Like, they think they have to have the biggest name. It's like Tiger Woods on the tour for a while. You couldn't get people to watch a tournament if he wasn't in it on the golf tour.
By the way, I have a bone to pick with Billie Jean King on that podcast.
Oh, yeah. What did she say?
She was talking about some record at the French Open and said Chrissy has the record.
I don't think she has any record over Nadal.
Nadal would have something to say about that. I think.
What was it? Most wins or most?
Who cares? It doesn't matter. She did the same thing that everybody cheers Andy for calling out, and she did it in the reverse. And I'm like, exactly.
Oh, You're like talking Everett may have something to say about the best clay quarter in history, or something.
No, Nadal might have something to say about Chrissy having the record.
But she was saying that Everett was one of the best clay quarters ever or something.
Well, I think she had like 6 or 7 or something and blah, 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 and she's got the most whatever. And I'm like, no. But she does because they were referring to the women's tour.
Right.
Because they shouldn't be the same. Because then we'd have to pay them the same. I didn't say that.
Yeah, because they didn't say that the Women's World Cup team scored the most goals in World Cup history. It was the most goals in Women's World Cup history, not comparing the two genders.
And it was also the most in men's, too, but it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
They weren't playing the men.
Right.
All right. So, anyway, what do we have coming up? So, again, these matter a bit more because now the big 3 are starting to kind of kick in and some of the bigger players are starting to play. So, that's Holla.
Yeah, I just pulled up the Queen's Club draw, which to me is way more interesting.
Fever Tree, baby. Fever, which is now, I know what it is. It's not medicine that you eat leaves, certain kind of eucalyptus leaves or something.
Yeah, when I was Googling, I saw what came up.
It's a mix, for
drink mix.
Yeah.
But Tsitsipas could lose first round again.
Yeah, why not?
Which is not.
Although he lost second round first match last time.
Oh, well, this time he didn't have a bye. He's playing Edmund, who obviously his home country. He's a good grass court player. That's going to be a tough first round match.
And KA is back, baby. He's the 2 seed. It helps to be tall.
And so is KY, Nick Kyrgios.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Anderson Nori, that's going to be a thriller.
It could be. I mean, Nori's not he's an actual tennis player.
I'm interested in Mahut Tiafoe.
I am not. I'm interested in Mahut, not Tiafoe.
Well, no, that's why I'm interested in it, because I think Mahut could win that. Shapovalov and Del Potro first round.
Here's Tiafoe's forehand is so jacked up. And you know who else's forehand is jacked up? Hatchinoff. It looks similar. He's got a big, goofy.
They're really both hitchy, right?
Yeah, and that I think that costs you more on grass, and because of the speed.
And there's nothing, and I'm sure you deal with this a little bit too, but there's nothing more irritating as a coach than when someone comes to a lesson or drill and they're trying to do something they saw from one of these pros do on TV. And it's like, have you seen, first of all, they're all 25.
Well, the good news is we never get tennis on TV in America, so it doesn't happen as much as... No,
Right.
kidding. Good job, Tennis Channel. Not the app.
And they come out and say, oh, I saw so-and-so doing this. And it's like, he practices 6 hours a day. He's 20 years younger than you. And, he's been doing it since he was 5. So
Yeah, as of now, it doesn't look like Raonic is pulled out. They don't have him marked out as a...
Well, we've got Dimitrov and FAA and Del Potro Shapovalov. Those are two. Shapovalov is dangerously close to fading away, I think.
Who is?
Shapovalov.
So is Dimitrov.
Shapovalov.
Well, so Shapovalov is going to be in Dimitrov area.
Yeah, they would play each other second.
No,
third.
No, there is no back draw. They don't play. You lose, you're out.
I will say, Dimitrov impressed me a little bit at the French, and I don't say that very often.
Well, apparently he's got some shoulder issues or something ongoing, so I guess I feel bad about...
And I assume Agassi's already left him, but I never heard that, but
I haven't heard
I
about...
never saw him.
Right.
But yeah, no, Shapovalov just seems to be like, he's been overshadowed by Felix, and now he's been losing early in some tournaments. It's kind of interesting how he was the next big thing, and then he just sort of has muddled around like the 20s.
Well, listen, here's the thing about all these players we've talked about. Physically, they can do it.
Yeah.
All of them, obviously. The problem is the two phases of the head up, whether
Right.
it's mental or psychological. Mental from the standpoint of shot selection, strategy, and decisions on when to do certain things.
Right.
And then obviously handling the pressure, et cetera, and handling your emotions. And sometimes those are intertwined. Sometimes they're not, but sometimes they are intertwined. Sometimes you make an awful decision to try to change directions, hit the ball down the line to get the point over with because you can't take it anymore. So you can't handle the pressure of an ongoing point, and so now you make a decision that's bad strategically because your head's not in it. And all these young guys suffer from that. Some of them grow out of it. Some of them learn. They get more disciplined. Obviously, teenagers are more idiotic than usually than a 22-year-old and a 24-year-old and a 26. Right. But they have to progress. And if your claim to fame is a GIF where you're jumping up, hitting a one-handed backhand out of the air, and that also is your real life, and that's your best moment, then you're doing it wrong.
Well, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, but I think it's so much harder to be like a phenom, young phenom in any sport now, especially in a head-to-head sport, because the more attention you get, the more the other players are analyzing your game and every match you play. And, oh, look, he struggles when he does this. It's not like you can just show up at a tournament and play somebody if they beat anybody of substance, they're going to be analyzing. And all these top players can afford these coaches that are going to analyze and, you do this, it works against him. I just think that we're seeing all these phenoms fade in their second year, and I think that's got to be part of the reason.
Maybe. Well, and here's the other thing. With as quick and fast as, the news cycle, so to speak, goes, it's that much more of a steep incline. Oh, this player is going to be great. And it might not be. It happens too fast to get a real handle on whether it's real or not.
Right.
And so perception is, wow, this is the next great thing, but we don't know yet. But since everybody says it, we might as well. And everybody says it, and the second they say it, everybody has it on their phone, and they know now. And
how many players are watching tape, leading into Wimbledon on Anisimova and Andreescu that 6 months ago they hadn't heard of either of them.
Right.
And they're going to be, anybody who's in their section of the draw is going to spend, hours watching what they do and how to combat it, which you couldn't do that, 20 years ago. You just talked to people maybe and got some minimal information, and then you had to figure it out when you were out there. But I think we got a Felix Kyrgios potential second round. That would be amazing. I would love to watch that.
Maybe.
Just because I don't know what nonsense Kyrgios would do and how Felix would handle it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I see Manarino as flaming out first round against Kyrgios. So
really?
Well, just because he just played a whole week, which he's not used to.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And Kyrgios, his grass should be his best surface with his game.
He's chilling. Yeah, he's chilling.
Yeah.
And he's been.
But it just
depends on where his mind is.
I was just say you don't know if he's going to care or not.
I hope he's been out partying all week because that's his best option.
You heard the podcast interview where he said he partied every night of that tournament he won. Was it Acapulco?
Yeah. And, honestly, the reason behind that, I think, is if you're just struggling physically because of hangovers and lack of sleep, then that is now your focus. You don't have the time, energy, or mental capacity to focus on all the rest of the nonsense and the pressure that you can't handle. It's just you're just in a battle on dealing with how you feel, and so the rest of it goes by the wayside. Now you can just focus on that battle and stay in it.
Well, and they kind of called him out on that. Ben called him out on that and said, isn't that part of the reason you don't give maximum effort is that when you lose, you can say, well, I didn't prepare like I should have. So
he said,
yeah.
He said, probably.
And you and I have both coached players like that.
Sure.
They would rather
I've
give
coached
up.
you. No, I'm kidding. I will say, if nothing else.
Oh, here we go. First compliment ever.
Nothing else. The amount of emotional and mental capacity it takes to overcome that backhand and to stay in a match.
It's called the backhanded compliment.
Yes, indeed. I can't give you a compliment. Are you out of your mind? No, that is definitely one area that I seemingly have never had a problem with. Is dealing with the on-court emotion.
No, not
control.
very often.
You get a little mad, but not out of control mad to where you're, throwing chairs or whatever.
And it doesn't carry over. When I get mad, it doesn't carry over to the next point.
It's more typically of a release.
Right.
Like, you look over to me. Yes, I know my backhand sucks.
I can't change that.
It's too late
second
now.
Set tiebreak.
You should, though. It would be better if you did. Just try any. Just listen. I'm going to show you a video of Sharapova. Can you just switch to her two-hander for this tiebreak? It'd help you.
I got to tell you, this is
please.
One of the most depressing moments I have as a tennis player. Is I had a coach, and at one point we were just talking about my backhand, and he just says, "You know what? It's just too late for your backhand. Don't even try to change anything. Just stick with what you got because it's never going to get any better."
Was that me?
No, it wasn't. And it was just like, but in some ways that's
should have been.
In some ways, I tell people all the time, the best thing about my backhand is I have one. So I don't have any thinking involved ever. I know what shot I'm going to hit every time because that's all I've got.
And, what's funny is even if people don't realize it, so do they.
Right.
A lot of people.
No, that's the problem. I watch other people and they try 5 different forehands. I'm like, you don't have one good one. Like, stop trying all 5. If you just had one, it might be decent.
Or their entire game. It's like, listen, you can't do that.
Right.
Or that.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, or that. Or that, or this, that, or this, or that. But you can't do this, just do that as much as you can.
Like, I'm not going to try a topspin backhand passing shot when someone comes to the net. So, I mean.
And I promise you, recreational players out there, no one that you're going to play against will figure out to not hit the ball to that one thing you can do.
Right.
Because, first of all, you're going to try to do other stuff anyway. And so it's not like a pattern where 15 shots in a row, you hit that one forehand winner from that one spot you can hit from.
Right.
And boom. So do just that. Yeah. Everything else around your entire life should be set up to try to get that one thing you can do.
Right.
And nobody will figure it out. They won't. They'll just get mad. Why do I keep doing that? Every time they hit it to your forehand, whatever your thing is. Right. And they will never figure it out.
And if they do, it's too late.
And even if they do, they can't stop it if it goes over there anyway, so who cares? I do think people are too often try to be tricky.
No, and I teach people about service toss, and I'm like, do you ever look at the other person's toss? No. I said, they're not looking at you toss. If you toss it over here, they're not going to know you're going to slice it. Like they should, but they're not.
Depending on the level,
yeah,
sure.
I mean, the higher level you go, of course. But it's just pretty funny.
And it's the higher level because you need it. Because if somebody's facing a big serve and they can do nothing with it, anything they do that can help, just give me a hint. So I'm not just guessing.
Well, it's just funny that people always think their opponents can do more than they can in terms of like you said, in strategy, or they're going to figure it out if I do this, or I said, until they prove they can stop it, keep doing it.
Right.
And there's so many people, and I catch myself the same way. Oh, why did we mix it up this point? It's like, why did we mix it up?
Why did we mix it up?
We won every time we did this. I will say, I don't know how we got off on this, but the structure of USTA, playing the 2 sets in a tiebreak, I feel like you almost have to hold something back for the tiebreak, because if you pull something out that you've been doing the whole time, all it takes is them to hit one or two lucky shots and you lose because it's a tie break.
Maybe.
There's just a lot more margin for error.
I mean, listen.
Or less margin for error, I should say.
A full third set is paramount. Even I'd rather start at 2-all and then just finish 3 regular sets.
That'd be great. 2-all would be fine.
I mean, that's worst case, of course. But even starting a third at 2-all, so that way the score is 7-6, 6-7, 7-6, not 4-1.
By the way, I was vomiting during the French Open when all the commentators were like, I think the best format is this Australian Open 10-point tiebreak. It just gives you a little bit more margin. I'm like, it's 3 more points. Is that really changing anything?
It's not.
They were all like, oh, that's the superior of all 4. I think that's the best format.
You only get to the action later, and I want there to be almost immediate tension.
Yeah.
In a 10-point, if you get broken in the first couple of points, they got plenty of time.
Right.
And I'd rather them, if you serve first, you hold, and then you break one of theirs, now you're serving up 2-1. That's just enough time to make it where, okay, that guy's got a chance to break you.
Right.
But, so you've got a little ways to go.
Yeah.
But it's not like he's got a lot of chances.
Yeah.
I think it's enough.
And the first 12-12 match we have at Wimbledon is going to be
so stupid.
I mean, again, whoever wins that is going to lose the next round anyway. That didn't change. It's not going to change anything.
Yeah, you played. Yeah, if it gets to 12-12, you know what you just did? You played 2 more sets.
Right.
2 more sets.
Plus a tiebreak.
Because that's 6 games on each side.
Yeah, and potentially you didn't finish it in one day. I guess they have a couple indoor courts now.
Still.
But yeah, it's not
so stupid.
Going to accomplish anything.
See, that's why the ITF, now granted, I don't know why we're talking about this. We're supposed to be talking about grass court tournaments.
Well, that's, I don't know what you're going to, but we're talking about Wimbledon format.
Well, the only thing I want to say about the fever tray, sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm trying to talk in a British accent, and it's awful. It's awful. I'm so stupid. All right, so we got Nature Valley on the women's side, so Birmingham, if you will, and that's a bigger one. And that's Osaka's the 1, Ash Barty's the 2. I'm excited to see Ash Barty on grass. I don't care about Osaka on grass. She's fallen out of favor to me. So, I mean, in as much as she keeps struggling, she's fallen out of favor. I mean, so anyway, so yeah, I really do want to see Barty on grass now that she's got that confidence of winning.
Right.
And then V Will, of course, on grass is always fun.
I'm trying to look at this doubles draw. I thought
not yet.
But he's not in it anyway on this thing
on the app.
No.
Oh, he's in it.
Well, that's what I thought. It's only showing 16 people for one thing.
So then the other one we have is a 250 Mallorca. And do you know what the special thing about Mallorca is?
Not that it's Nadal's hometown.
Is it? Oh, yeah. No. One Ruski Maria Sharapova is back, baby.
Oh.
So Angie Kerber is playing a qualifier as the 1 seed, and Sharapova is in the next line down. So if she wins, she will be playing Angie Kerber in the second round. And a recent winner, Alison Risk, is playing a wild card from Spain, and she's in the 4th line. So that's, and then Caroline Garcia is on line 8.
Spanish wild card on grass. That's got to be a star player.
So so you've got 2 of the winners. So Caroline Garcia and Risk are the 2 grass court tournaments this week. They will play each other in the second round.
Wow.
With the opportunity to play Sharapova or Kerber if everybody goes through.
Crazy section.
I think so. Anna Masova's back in action as the 5 seed, and so is Kenin.
Wow, so that's a big tournament for interest.
For interest. It's still a 250 and nobody's in it, but whatever. But yeah, for just like general little things happening kind of thing, yeah.
I think I asked you a couple months ago if Sharapova would ever win another slam.
No,
I think you said no, but I'm going to make it a little harder. Will she ever be a contender in another slam? By contender, meaning in
she
the
will
quarters.
not be. Will she make it to the quarters of a slam?
Because once you're in the quarters, anything can happen. Especially with these draws, she could be the only player we've heard of in the quarters.
Give me an out. Give me an out, and here's my out. If she makes it to the quarters, but every single seed fell
That's
before
what I mean.
she got
Which
to
isn't that
him.
unusual.
No. But who knows what could happen? We could have 10 people get the flu.
Right.
So does she legitimately make it through some players to get to the quarters?
But I mean, if she makes
say
the quarters,
nay.
she would have to beat somebody decent.
Maybe. I mean, you never know. That's what I'm getting at. If she
Right.
doesn't,
So you're saying not
I'm not
legitimately.
wrong.
Yeah.
If she doesn't, if it's a weird draw, then you can't say, aha, you were wrong.
Right. So you don't even think she's good enough to do it and beat 1 seed or 2 seeds on the way? Like low seeds even?
If she beats a seed early, because, whatever, maybe. But I just don't think she can I don't think she can beat a seed late.
Which it makes, if that's, and obviously she doesn't feel that way, but if that's the case, it makes you wonder why she's still doing this.
I don't think the candy's selling very well. No,
Because I really don't.
I don't know.
I don't even see the huge appeal when she plays. Like,
Tennis Channel, get your plus fixed so I can watch Sharapova for Pete's sakes.
but yeah, I mean, this will probably be her last year if she
Doesn't do anything?
Yeah.
No. She's going to hang on, especially if she sputters along and still is dealing with some physical, limitations. But at least the overall tournament means nothing.
Right.
Because here's what I compare it to. Wimbledon.
Right.
How does this, we're now playing on the surface of Wimbledon. How does it matter? It doesn't. But there are a lot of tidbits on both sides that are interesting. And so you're talking about the fever tree, right?
Yeah. Maybe if I download the PDF, okay, now it shows me the whole thing.
Yeah, what is wrong with you?
Well, it didn't show.
I need to give you the app I have. So Feliciano Lopez and Andy Murray, protected ranking, are playing against the 1 seed. Dope!
But yeah, if you show, like right here on the main page of the website, it shows Cabal versus Lopez. It doesn't show either of their partners.
Oh, just because it's crappy.
And then it shows Evans versus FAA, and I'm like, this is doubles. I'm confused.
Yeah, it's just one-on-one.
But then once you click the PDF, then it shows everybody.
Yeah. So that is interesting.
Well, Cabal and Ferrar are not amazing.
Yeah, I don't care about that. First of all, anytime Feliciano Lopez steps on the court, it's fun. I'm a fan of his.
And he's good on grass.
Exactly. But Andy Murray, it's interesting to me because Andy Murray's been out.
Right.
And men's tennis sucks so bad that we need him. And if he comes back with a bionic hip and he's part of the Big Four again immediately, I'm out. I say that every time.
I would be willing to put money on not happening.
Well, I don't know how
bad as this area is. It can't be that bad.
I don't know how physically he'll be though. So,
Yeah.
Whichever Bryan brother came back halfway is good.
What's interesting to me is how Andy Murray's not playing with Jamie. Like, I don't understand that.
No, I don't know. They hate each other.
Because Jamie's playing with Neil Skupski, who's not like it'd be different if he was playing with the Bryans or something. But
yeah,
they'll have to show that on TV, won't they? Andy Murray in doubles, they would have to.
In England, come on, nobody else cares. No, they should. I hope they do. I mean, nobody knows who the 1 seed is, but
there's a lot of big names playing doubles in this tournament for some reason.
Listen, I hope he can get back to 100%. I mean, in as much as he can, to where he's 100% of whatever that thing in his body, his hip is.
Let's say that he and Feliciano win this tournament. Does he
play doubles and drop singles? No.
No. Does he play singles at Wimbledon?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he's trying.
You think he's already planning on that?
No, I'm saying I think he wants to play singles no matter what.
That's what I mean.
So if he can, I don't know. I can't answer that. I'm not a Dr. Jim.
I just don't.
Oh wait, he was a doctor.
I didn't think he's gonna. I think as of right now, he's planning not to play singles at Wimbledon, meaning he's not ready for that much tennis.
That'd be tough too on grass. Better footing on hard courts, I think, would be smarter.
Well, yeah, and he's not. That was never his best surface. Well, I mean, maybe it was. He didn't win Wimbledon.
Andy Murray would have a little something to say about that. So anyway, it is exciting that he's actually playing competitive tennis. Will he be competitive? That's the other part of it. And if he is, what does that mean? And if he gets back to singles where he's competing, will he get close? I don't care if he gets to where he was. Will he surpass the next gen?
Right.
Will he leapfrog right over the next gen?
Well, remember the last match he played?
Of course he will.
He almost beat Bautista Agut and could barely move.
Right. So, yes. So, of course he will.
But
weakest error.
#
weakest error.
The one benefit he has, same Sharapova, he can probably get in any tournament he wants for the next 2 years as a wild card. So that, that's something that he always has.
Yeah.
Because I would think even like, the U.S. Open Series tournaments, they would take Andy Murray as a wild card if they get him.
By the way, could all of these apps that do scores, could you update the draw? Like, connect the live results to the actual draw.
How hard could that be?
It's 2 rounds later sometimes.
French Open the next day was never updated on the PDF version. And
everything should be automatically connected.
Well, if it's not, it takes literally 10 seconds. Like, it takes you about 3 minutes to update both draws.
By the way, are we ready to play Let's?
No, I've never wanted that.
I hate you so much.
Wimbledon especially, though, because the ball just rolls over the net.
So here's one thing I've seen during the grass court season that's fantastic. So in clay, we couldn't have Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Hawkeye back. Have you seen this Fox 10 real bounce situation? What I saying?
Like the Mac Cam?
Whatever, yeah.
I like that better.
It's first of all, there is no issue with accuracy.
No.
You're looking at real life.
Yeah, I mean,
and then
McEnroe should sue.
They've shown them he didn't invent the damn camera, you dumb. And you just made me say the D word. So they put them on the TV screen next to each other,
right.
And it's like you can see when Hawkeye or whatever it's called now, whichever one they have, it's off.
I know.
You can see it. And it's like, hey, dum-dums.
Here's the thing I think about
They're
Hawkeye.
using the real bounce right now. What are you doing?
I think Hawkeye shows the same trajectory of the shot indiscriminately. Like whether it's a top spin 100 mile an hour or a slice 60 mile an hour.
Oh, right.
I think the ball bounces the same. Yeah, that long sliding bounce.
Well, I think that's its range of accuracy or whatever. It's
but then when you look at the real bounce,
exactly,
it barely is on the ground. Like the ball is barely on the ground.
Yeah, there's yeah, exactly. Somebody hit, I can't remember what it was, but somebody hit a lob or something. It went really high. It was a defensive lob and landed straight down, and you got this long extended mark. Like, what are y'all doing?
No, I wish they would use that. I wish that would be there. And not only that, if the players saw that, they would shut the F up.
Yeah.
They would
for
see
sure.
it and be like, okay,
Well, they have a right to complain about Hawkeye because it's bullcrap.
Yeah.
Lies.
And neither of us have still seen the play site, the recreational version. I've yet to play anywhere that has it, but I can't wait to see how that. If the $1 million Hawkeye system is that inaccurate, I can't wait to see the one that's on, at your local club.
I mean, listen, the whole rigmarole with the challenges and the Hawkeye and how much it's off or not off.
Okay, a simple wrong would have done just fine, but...
Just show me the dumb ball in the line. I can see it clear as day.
Yeah.
You can't tell me the technology is not so great now.
Right.
I mean, that's
you would
all
think
they
that
should
system
use.
would be cheaper.
You would think so, yeah. You don't have sensors. You just have a camera.
I guess their dispute with that is that would still be the chair umpire making a decision. So if you get one ball that just lands super, super close, it's hard to tell.
That's all right.
The chair umpire has to decide. But again, the players aren't. Well, I guess they are seeing it because I'm sure it's on a screen somewhere. They can see.
It doesn't matter. If it's indisputable, problem solved. If it's not, then guess what? The chair makes the decision. That's their job.
I guarantee it's more accurate than the chair coming out and looking at the clay.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
No, I love that. I forget which match I was watching, and I saw that, and I was like, wow, that's so much. I didn't even look at the Hawkeye on the left. I was looking at the screen on the right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was looking at both because I wanted to see how awful.
Yeah, the only one I saw, they were pretty identical in that case, but there have been so many times in Hawkeye, I've been like, that did not seem like where that ball bounced.
Yeah.
So, there's something wrong with how much the ball stays on the ground in their model. They almost need to have, they have to have sensors on the actual court.
I don't know. I guess Fox 10 is the company, maybe, I guess. They need to, both the ATP, the WTA, the ITF, the USTA, the FFT, everybody should Yeah.
Yeah, they need to undercut Hawkeye and be like, we'll give it to you for half the price.
Or not.
Yeah.
Say, hey, dum-dums, we're going to charge you double, but it works.
Right.
And then Hawkeye is going to say, hey, what about us?
If.
Oh, it didn't come through. Hold on.
As if.
How about that? Remember, that was a Clueless. Yeah, I was on
When I
YouTube.
first heard that in and out, I thought it was something. I was like, what are you playing? You clicked the wrong link.
Behave.
Yeah, that movie doesn't really hold up anymore. I don't
It
think.
doesn't, but as if is. I thought, all right, I'll delete it.
The
whatever.
stat I always tell about that movie, though, is Cher in that movie, not Cher, Dion was her name? Her friend was like 29 when that was made.
Right. It's crazy.
She's like 50 now. And she was playing like a 16-year-old or 17-year-old.
So anyway, so yeah, it's fantastic. Real Bounce, it's fantastic. We've got to do it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, and we've even said this when it first started, they could be showing you a video of any ball bouncing on that Hawkeye. Like the camera, that's, like you said, that's indisputable. You're seeing the actual shot land.
Right.
I'm not seeing some computer model. It's like when your radar shows it's not raining and you walk outside and you're feeling like, well.
And here's what has happened with Hawkeye, right? Is they challenge everybody, including all the fans, turn towards the big screen.
Right.
And then, start cheering. It's turned into a thing.
Right.
Don't let the fact that it's turned into a thing trick you into thinking it's a good thing.
Right.
The only thing that matters is getting reality correct.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's turned into a whole thing and how many challenges you get. Just get it right.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess they're trying to make it interactive, but yeah, I agree with you. It has become too much.
They've
of an
had to
ordeal.
make it interactive because it's so dumb. It's a cartoon. When we can actually see reality.
Yeah, and I think that you've seen players use it strategically. They have a really long point or somebody's in a roll that challenge. They just challenge just to get, a 15-second break. Because really, we don't even need, like the people in the stands don't even need to see it. They just say out, in, like points over.
Now, if it does cost a lot of money, I get it. But they should have an official at the tournament just watching it nonstop. Right. And then as soon as there's this call, that was out. They can just be in the earpiece of the official or on the walkie or whatever, or text them or give them the old sign.
And if they could afford it in this tournament, they could surely afford it at the Slams.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think there was one tournament, they said they were going to have Hawkeye in like all 12 courts or something recently. I can't remember if it was that with Indian Wells or Miami. They had it on every court. And I'm like, those courts aren't even televised. But I guess just for fairness.
Yeah.
But
nobody wants... I know, it's too much.
They always
I got to stop. It's too much.
But they always go too far on all these challenge systems.
Yeah.
It's always too far.
Well, at least they don't throw out a streamer flag out onto the court like they do in... by the way, Billie Jean King, they sold World Team Tennis.
Really?
To billionaires.
So she's not involved at all?
She owns the Philadelphia Freedoms.
Okay.
Which, of course, that song is written about that team. It is.
Really?
Yeah, because they were buddies back then.
I almost saw that movie over the weekend, but didn't.
Rocket Man?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I saw the worst movie I think I've ever seen, and I say that because I don't want anyone to go see it and pay any money. The Dead Don't Die.
The Dead.
Bill Murray and
Don't Die.
Adam Driver. It was awful.
It was another zombie movie?
Yeah, it was theoretically a comedy.
I'm not a fan of Adam Driver, even as Kylo Ren.
They said this was his best performance ever, and I'm like, that says a lot.
Wow.
Because it was bad. It was terrible. And we were deciding between Rocket Man and that, and we saw that.
So listen, most of the tournaments this week, Tennis Channel, right?
Yep.
And then they kick over to a real channel for like the weekend or whatever.
Do they?
I don't know. Some stuff happened that way. I can't remember what did, what didn't.
Grass seems to get shot. I didn't think grass ever does.
Maybe that was the French that did, maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, my point being is this. The Tennis Channel just needs to go all in and get everything. Because I think, listen, here's
they did that with the Slams. They just sell it. Well, I think they sell it to NBC.
Do they?
I think.
I hope so.
I'm almost certain.
I don't know. But listen, ESPN2, which is prior to the Tennis Channel having way more tennis, 94.3 million homes have ESPN2. How many do you think the Tennis Channel has?
Well, I was going to ask higher or lower, but that's cheating.
Well,
I'll say 75.
You're an idiot. No, you're not. 60 million.
Okay.
So it is lower. 30 million less, but they're still growing. And I think if they went all in and had it all in like they do right now and they stay consistent over time, then they'll start, getting more people. Because what's the point of fighting for Tennis Channel on your cable provider if, you're watching Bag Check 90% of the time? Who cares? I want live tennis. And
I think
college
they graduated past that. They'd not have stopped that now.
They still have Bag Check.
I know.
It's still on, but they got to get rid of it.
I mean, they've done that enough.
The college tennis is a big piece of it, for sure, and what have you. But anyway, so...
No, I think there's still people that don't have it, which is even tennis fanatics, because they can get by without it.
Right, but now they have Tennis Channel Plus, so they can still make money. Because I don't think you have to have a cable provider to get Tennis Channel Plus.
No, I doubt it.
So I don't think so. So anyway, so they can make money off of that.
No, to watch Tennis Channel online, you have to have the Tennis Channel.
Right, but I don't think you do
not for Plus.
To buy it on your phone and watch it.
No, they'd prefer that, I'm sure.
Well, right, they don't. Yeah, they don't have to. So what I'm saying is 30 million difference is a lot, obviously, but to have 60 is pretty impressive, and I think they're closing the gap.
Well, I think the reason they were able to buy all the slams.
And by the way, BN has 17, not million, just 17.
The reason they were able to outbid ESPN, I think, and the other channels is because they want first ball to last ball, and ESPN doesn't want that.
Right.
So they were able, because they know they're going to show those Wimbledon matches all year long.
Right.
So I think, last I heard, they bought all 4 slams completely. Now, maybe there was some prime time
and
or
they
weekend.
Sell,
Yeah, they sell whatever they want, because NBC is going to pay a lot of money for the finals and semis. Same with ESPN or whatever.
Right.
But, again,
good for them.
That was what I heard last. But
good for them.
But that had to be a lot of money. But they knew they were going to make a lot of it back when they sold certain packages.
Yeah.
But this is the first year I can remember, since I've watched tennis, that there wasn't a single minute of a slam on ESPN.
Which is great if you ask me, because they don't care anyway.
No, they don't.
It
was funny though, watching ESPN, now that they don't have it, they didn't talk about tennis at all.
Right.
Like when they have it, they act like it's a big deal, and now they don't have it. It was like they just show the scores on the bottom of the screen. That's it.
Right.
They didn't show it on Sports Center or anything.
We don't need them. I don't care. We don't need them. I'm serious. We don't.
No, I think the more that's on Tennis Channel, the better.
If we can get insulated and the tennis community, the tennis world in America can financially, back the Tennis Channel, and also, collectively push and get it on more systems and get it into more basic packages, or at least the lowest level tier besides the base, whatever, then I think that really, because 60 million we're gaining. And I'm kidding. I don't know what BN is, but I'm assuming it's in the teens.
Oh, wait, well, it wasn't 17 million?
No, it was I just put 17 total. They get my TV now, it's up to 18.
Yeah.
I'm sure BN's in a lot, but who cares?
I bet it's not in more than 17 in America million.
Maybe not. So anyway,
but it's just continuity. It's
fix
annoying.
The damn app. That's all.
Yeah.
Fix it.
But it's annoying to have to guess what channel tennis is on. So I think the continuity of it always being on Tennis Channel is best for everything.
And I think you can you can swallow the fact that, you know what, I've been watching Tennis Channel for everything, but now on Sunday I got to jump over to NBC for the final. That's all right.
And more people want to watch the final, so I get that.
Yeah.
It's just like every year when we have that tournament and I ask people when they want to go, they always want to go to the finals. And I'm like, to me, that's the worst one to go to, but whatever.
We only get one match.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't know who's going to be in it.
And what if it's not good?
Right.
It's possible. At least when you're the first round, you can see 32 or whatever the draw size is. So anyway, how about this? Desperation or genius? Coaching at the U.S. Open.
Is that actually a possibility?
But from the stands, which is the biggest cop-out.
What do you mean from the stands?
So in other words,
the player walks over there.
No. You can just make signs and exactly.
What, only on changeovers or any time?
I have no idea. I haven't really looked into it because we do no prep for the show. And why would I want to break character?
Well, my thinking would be that they're saying that because they're already doing it. So why not just make it legal?
Which
That's
is
the
why
philosophy in America for everything.
Which is why it's a cop out.
Yeah.
How dare you? By the way, talk about America.
Well, no, I mean, it's people already doing it. Let's just make it legal.
Oh, by the way, I apologize. I forgot to, this just in, coaching at the U.S. Open. Sorry. I can't help it.
I mean, that would be a pretty drastic change. They're always trying to make changes. That would be probably the biggest one in recent memory. I mean, that's bigger than challenges, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, but like you said, it's really not going to change effectively what's actually happening.
No, and there would have to be some limitations on it. I mean,
except
Serena's about to toss, and the guy yells out, "You step in closer."
But now, well, of course it's gonna. But now everybody's gonna say, "Well, it's racist because you didn't do it last year before Serena lost her mind."
Yeah, or that's why they're doing it, because Serena, got screwed.
Yeah, maybe. But again, if it's not on, I want the coach to be down there the entire match. That's all there is to it to me.
Well, a friend of mine who's a tennis coach like y'all have identical opinions on coaching and on-court coaching, and I'm not going to say obviously who it is, but he just got outvoted in his high school coaches meeting, and they're not going to allow coaching on court next season.
Wow.
And he was furious. And
well, to me, the argument everybody says is, well, that takes away the element of figuring it out for yourself.
That's my argument.
But that's the dumbest. That's just
no.
Cares?
But here's where
cares?
I don't use that argument. We're going to be like Stephen A. and Max Kellerman. We'll just yell at each other. But here's when that argument doesn't apply. You would say always, but that doesn't apply in a team setting. I have no problem with it in a team setting. I do have a problem with it in a one-on-one setting when you don't have equal resources. That's
now
one of the reasons I don't like it at the pro level.
There could be some, if you got the wild card who's 319 in the world playing against Serena, who can pay 9 coaches or more, then it's an opt-out thing where both players have to agree to have them.
Yeah, I would be more agreeable to that.
That way, and because I think most players are a little more insecure than they are worried about what you're doing than what they can or can't do.
Now, let me ask you this. Let's say you go to play a college match.
Yep.
Coach a college match, and the other team coach isn't going to be there for whatever reason.
Yep.
Would you be okay with them saying, well, since they don't have a coach,
I've dropped the players off and go to the bar? No. But that's the college's fault.
I was going to say the
for having a tennis program and not paying.
Well, I don't mean they don't have one. He's just not going to be there.
That's his problem.
Right. That's his fault
job.
In some way.
It's almost like saying, well, Serena's not there. Can't she still play the match and still win? No.
But that's the only problem with the opt-out is I feel like that players are just going to use that whenever they want.
Well, if you're 300 in the world playing against Serena, no configuration. Serena might say, yeah, we can have coaches, and then not have hers there and not care.
Yeah. Nothing is advantageous to you if you're playing Federer.
So really, it really just protects your, and there might be even a situation where you have to do it, you can't do it day of. You've got to, when you register for the tournament, you've got to say, am I, yes or no?
Yeah.
Am I going to have coaching or the possibility of coaching all year? Yes. And then if you don't, you don't, but you've already agreed to it. That way, if you're about to play Halep and she's cuckoo, on Wednesdays, and you're playing her into the second round, you're nope, no coaches. Aha. Right. Not that Darren's there anymore, but,
Yeah.
So it can't get all goofy like that. There's got to be a system in which you're like, yes, I'm playing in the tournament, coaches are, or they might just say, you know what? Coach is allowed no matter what. If you don't have one, too bad. Because I don't think it's such a huge advantage that it matters.
Well, and if you're going to have it, even in the system you're talking about for the U.S. Open, they got to have microphones on the coaches. That's the only way I will accept it in a televised match. Because I'm not going to be trying to decipher. No, I know.
Listen to you.
But I'm not going to decipher. Yeah, I'm going to turn it off
if
they don't do it.
Corey said he doesn't accept it. Shut it down. Shut it all down.
You don't realize the authority that I have. No, if I can't decipher what they're saying, that's going to be more annoying than anything on TV.
You can't tell. How many times does Bill Belichick cover his face with a clipboard when he's, X zoom, triple left, right, flippy floppy.
But
Cuckoo.
flippy floppy, that was a
throw it to
Andy Samberg reference.
That was an accidental. Yep.
Flippy floppies.
Never heard of them.
That was from one of those weird songs.
Oh.
I'm on a boat or one of those.
Please don't make us relive it.
But no, but even on like NFL films later, you can at least hear what Bill Belichick is saying and stuff like that. Like, to me, there's got to be at some point where you can get behind the curtain one way or the other.
So that's even a dumber argument than your other argument. This sport is individual sport, and you have to learn to. They still can't come out and hit forehands for you.
Well, and
you
also
still have to be able to do things they're saying. And have you seen some of these coach exchanges and the players just looking at them like they're a jackass?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, here's the worst, though. What I'm saying is them showing on TV the player getting coached, and we don't hear anything either of them are saying. Like, don't show it if we can't hear them. Like, don't bother.
Using codes and stuff.
Yeah, like, why do we need to see it if we can't hear it? It's not rocket science. Like, we don't need to see.
Yeah, but
I think the chair umpire, both players should be mic'd for every match anyway.
Well, yes,
because I want to read those. I want to hear those.
I think every person in the crowd should be mic'd, so that way you can see behind the curtain. Grounds crew, how close are you cutting that grass?
Once you enter the stadium, it's all public.
Everybody gives you a mic.
Patriot Act.
Yep. Listen, here in the bathroom, you going for a pee? Mic it up.
Yeah. No, because. I don't know.
No,
to me, it's just got to be about TV.
Do not.
You're talking about what is the purpose of allowing coaches to coach from the stands?
To have the best chance to have the best possible tennis occurring on the court at the same time.
But if they want that, then why are they making them stay in the stands?
No, that's my...
Oh, yeah, I know.
Because they're afraid.
Yeah.
They don't want to go all in because it's too much. Change scares me.
Yeah, they're going like one small step. And let's see what happens.
Coaching from the stands, row Z next year. Well, maybe we'll get down to V, row V. You can come down to V.
You get 1 minute at the end of every set.
But you can't wear sunglasses. That's too tricky. And eventually it'll be, okay, fine. You can sit in the service box they're serving to.
I feel like that's kind of why they do it. It's like they do a small step to see what the backlash is, and then they plan on going further the next year. It's like going to be this year, signals only, no verbal, and then next year, whatever.
Full-on college coaching, college-style coaching would be the best.
Coaches on court, clapping between points and encouraging.
That's a bit much, but yeah. But see, I'm telling you, that won't go over. The players won't want to hear that crap.
No, that's what I mean. That I would.
It will self.
Yeah.
Whatever itself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I still think the men don't want it overall. The women definitely want it because they already are used to it.
Because they're needier? Is that what you're saying? They can't do things by themselves without a man?
The best argument for the women doing it is they already do it every tournament but the slams. Why aren't they doing it in the slams?
Right.
The men don't do it anytime. Why would you just allow them to do it in the U.S. Open? I mean, it's dumb.
You need a coach in this podcast is what you need. You need somebody over there whispering.
Maybe it's because I know a coach can't help me. That's why I'm against this.
Here's my backhand. What do you got for me? Nothing.
I've yet to find a coach who could help me.
I've had the best interpretation of your backhand. I won't discuss it in public.
It took us this long to figure out why I hate coaching. It's because no one can help me. So I said it must not be useful for anybody else.
True. So, all right. Good Lord. We went a year and a half for awful grass court tournaments that nobody cares about. So who's winning Wimbledon? No, I'm kidding. We'll get to that, but not yet. So the Fever Tree is the one I care about the most because of the name. And oh, baby, I can't. By the way, I saw something on Twitter that Laver Cup and the Boodles results will be counted towards head-to-head results. Just in stats. I don't think they'll count like other stuff. And I'm like, whatever, who cares?
I still want to know why Nadal is like 98-2 at the French when he quit that 1 year. Like, that's a loss. When you drop out of a tournament, that's a loss.
If you never play the match, it's not, which is stupid.
But is it really not? I thought it was.
Yeah, if you don't play the match.
So Federer should just drop out every time he's scheduled to play Nadal, and he would be undefeated at the French.
He'd be 3-0.
I'm serious. That's a terrible rule.
Career record 3-0 against. Yeah.
I got to do some research on that.
I don't know.
That's ridiculous.
It is. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So anyway, all right. Anything else? Do you have a corner?
I don't.
Thank
no.
goodness. Thank goodness. I couldn't take it.
I'm so flabbergasted. I figured out why I don't like coaching. I've got to do some reflection.
You about to quit tennis, quit everything. Don't quit the podcast yet.
Yeah.
Find somebody way better. It won't be hard. I'm kidding. Kidding, of course. All right. So you know where to find us. Twitter, @TennisRevPod. Follow us. Spread. Every time I text something out, just retweet it, would you? It's not hard. I think it's only one button. You don't have to like it. And just put in your little description, retweets don't equal agreement or whatever, So do that. Instagram, we're back up, baby, to 115. I don't know how it happened, and I don't care. I just don't want to.
All our promotion.
It helped. It helped. 100 and however many. We've got like one Instagram follower per. Oh, my God. We're back down to 114. How did that happen?
This is someone just trolling you every week.
I don't care.
Adding and deleting.
I don't care. I'm going to delete this.
It's me.
thing.
I've got an account. I'm going in and out every week.
If we don't get to 300 needs to be a number. If we need to set a date and set a number, and if we don't get to 300 by a certain amount of time, I'm deleting the.
Well, I was going to say,
account.
you don't even put the show on that account, right?
No, nothing. Nothing.
So there really isn't a reason for anyone to follow us there.
All right, so I'll start putting the show on there if I can figure it out. So don't just leave me alone until I figure it out, all right? Or somebody else put it on there and send it to me, and then I won't be able to figure out how to send it back out either. But whatever. So Instagram, I mean, why do I even tell you what it is? It doesn't matter. Tennis Revolution Pod, @Tennis Revolution Pod. Maybe I need to follow somebody like a Kardashian or something and kind of get something going.
We need an experiment next week, and the very first part of the show, we list all our social media and see if they all just skyrocket.
Because nobody listens.
Yeah, because 99% of the people have already turned us off by now.
Clearly,
They're tired of us.
throwing their phone in the garbage. Yeah, that might be a good idea. That might be a good idea. So anyway, do those things. And, of course, as usual, just spread the word as much as possible. We continue to grow, but we grow too slow. And, hey, people deserve us. Do you understand that?
Yeah, Wimbledon's coming up.
That's true. Remember last year's Wimbledon was our UTR comparison, I think, for the women and the men.
That's right.
Was it?
I think it was.
So anyway, all right. I think that's all we got, and we're way over time, so we apologize. Until next time, thanks for joining the revolution.
Bye, guys.
Maria's back.